What's up, y'all? But the man should make us actually called references, notes, sources, future projects, the making of each art history book. Let's get direct into this. Now, these are all of my references and sources. It's actually in this, but it's mainly in this. All of my references and sources is actually in this notebook right here. Actually, I take it back to the school days. You know what I mean? Let's go a little bit further into this. I'll show y'all a little bit about it. You know, I take it back to the school days. I have this thing right here. I put the name of the topic. And also within here, kind of speaks about, you know, like the chapters, information that's actually going to be used or included to the actual art history book I'm working on, and the order that I actually wanted it to be, etc. That's pretty what this actually speaks about right here, right? Besides this right here, this is also all 6 of my art history books. I'm actually going to reveal y'all right here briefly. This is probably going to be my last making of my art history book, showing y'all all pretty what I'm up to, what I'm doing. I actually write my notes in this. And I also write my notes in that small notebook that's right there, that you can see. Small notebook right there. That's right what I actually write my notes on, you know what I mean? Besides that, the votes came in, y'all. For my first art history book, because I was fluctuating on which one I want for my first, which one I want for the front cover for the first art history book. My mother drew all the pictures, and my man Eric colored these 2. He also colored some more. Shout out to everybody who was actually being an artist for my for any of my art history books. Shout out to the Nigerian brother who's actually the writer and proof, and he also the proof. He actually proofreading, also formatting each of my books. I also have other artists actually drawing pictures for this book right here. So shout out to everybody who's actually involved with the projects, literally in general. Let's get direct into this. So it was 60 votes for this, for the front cover of the book, and 60 votes for this, right? It's 45 that's a draw, which is actually more than that, and it's actually 25, which is actually more than that, where it was undecided. So I was going all around, you know what I mean, ask people, you know what I mean. But shout out to y'all for, you know what I mean, giving y'all your votes on Facebook. And shout out for those when I actually walking about, asking them shit like that, and they literally, you know, decided, you know what I mean. So shout out to y'all on that, you know what I mean. Shout out to the fundraisers for the Mexicans Indigenous to America. I have not forgotten y'all. I always look out for those who actually look out, you know what I mean, for me. So when I get my shit together, trust me, I got you. You know what I mean? So everybody who actually involved, because I actually asked it for a fundraiser, y'all literally, you know, donated money for it. Yo, shout out to y'all. I'm not going to forget y'all for literally helping me out when I get my shit together. I got you. This second art history book I'm working on, which is called The Mexicans Indigenous to America. Mexicans is Native Americans. We're actually on their land. And I also spoke about that how when the colonizers came to the region, the actual illegal immigrants, they literally Christianized it, and they also changed their tribal names into a title. You know what I mean? Under a slave system. I give you year periods, all that shit. I give you the name they called them, all that. I explain it in this actual art history book right here. Shout out to Bird. She's actually a female Mexican, and she's a cooker. She have her own cooking channel, and some other channels that she actually have. Actually subscribed to each of them, where she gave me she actually gave me an idea for the front cover of the actual book. So shout out to her on that. You know what I mean? So these are all the books that I actually read from beginning to end, and there's also books that I actually read from, you know, the library, including websites that I actually read from you know, websites that I actually read, books that I actually read from the library, including videos that I actually read from the actual, you know what I mean, so websites, videos, and including videos, so videos, websites, and books, you know what I mean. So it's a lot of sources of them, and they also going to be implied to each of these books. I can't reveal y'all, you know, right here, right now, you know what I mean, but they will be actually in the book, you know what I mean. So I actually print out pictures of what's going to be in the book, and I have an artist draw them. So these are the ideas of the pictures. This Mexicans Digital America speaks of the entirety of their history, from beginning to the end. There's actually chapters that I actually want to include. I mean chapters, practically information I want to include to the book. So I actually spoke about it briefly. Yo, I want to say it so bad of information that's actually in this book, yo. Because people going to be looking at Mexicans very different. All of my art history books, I want them to be taught in school, and including homeschooling. But because of the nature and the content of each of these books, I doubt they will. You know? My first book was called The Planet of the Blacks. That book speaks about African invention and creation that we use in our daily lives and unaware that it's traced to African descent and origin. That's what that book literally speaks about. The book is already proofread. Book need to be formatted. And my second book right here is like the picture's been drawn for it right now. The first book is 21 pages. 21 pictures. This one is actually 31 pictures, right? The first one was actually more than that, but I'm moving it to the Planet of Blacks Part 2. But this here is actually 31 pictures, and this one, or 31, somewhere around there. If the books sell at least like 10,000 copies or more, I could actually make a DVD. I was actually planning on making like a DVD of the Mexicans indigenous to America. You know what I mean? That what I originally had intended for myself to do. Yo, shout out to my man Eric. Yo, shout out to like I said earlier, to everybody who actually involved with the any project working on. Yo, shout out to y'all. This is the other art history book, my third. It's called The African Presence in Ancient America. This art history book speaks about the Africans was been living in America. White people been knew the truth the whole entire time. Was living here, and they just playing dumb about it. This art history book also speaks about that Native Americans is originally dark skin complexion, non-mixed with Africans. You know what I mean? So this what this book literally actually speaks about. I actually ripping pages from the book. Cause this information clearly shows you that Africans have been living here in America. It's crazy. It's crazy of historical evidence. The Africans been living here in America, and these white motherfuckers is playing dumb about it. It's fucking ridiculous to me. I actually written 2 essays, which is I am my own worst enemy and solution. The Forgotten Legacy, The Repression of the Fallen Gods and Goddess. I've written this one 2011 and this one 2015. Both of them is probably 3 to 4 chapters, less than 16 pages, respectfully. And the first chapter of this speaks about racism exists because the people let it live. Kind of speaks about we at war with the idea. Chapter 2 speaks about differences in opinions. Kind of speaks about that people always want to be right, or people always want to be right, but not looking at the facts and evidence. If it ain't the truth, then it don't make sense. Chapter 3 speaks about you doesn't have to be in a cage. You doesn't have to be in a prison to feel you're in a cage, mental slavery. That chapter speaks about that our ignorance is actually holding ourselves hostage and repressing our creativity or character, because your ignorance is holding yourself hostage. You're actually your own prisoner, I also spoke about, also within that chapter, that how to let go of fake friends, pretenders, freeloaders, etc. And I also spoke about that you gotta be careful with people that's actually in your circle. And I also gave an example, like you may have somebody like, yo, I want you to go pluck that nigga. You know what I mean? Some shit like that. And also says that when you're listening to this person, what you're doing is you're living for them and not living for yourself. That's what that speaks about. I also spoke about solutions in that too. Chapter 4 speaks about parents and children. There's a void between the two, and also of older generation, younger generation, and we have to reconnect it. So that what this book speaks about. Also, the book essay speaks about, and also speaks about like the making of it. How this essay was formed, etc. Also with this one. So chapter 1 speaks about maturity. I define maturity by your perception, practically your awareness, which a person can be 50 years old with a mindset of 15 or 16, etc. That person have not aged. The more you know, the more you can create. So your mind is the doorway of reality. Your mind defines what's right, what's wrong, what's a like and dislike. It's your mind. Your mind is maturity. You know what I mean? That's what I define maturity as. Originality kind of speaks about chapter 2, speaks about how everything originally was before the colonizers or the illegal immigrants, white people, how they changed it to what it is today. There was only one land, one land, one race, etc. like that. But they changed everything to what it is today. Evolution, chapter 3 speaks about the evolution is just culture. The reason why we're not involving because we don't know enough about ourselves to evolve from. So evolution is culture. You know what I mean? If you're not maturing, you're not evolving. So that's what that speaks about. You know what I mean? And also, it speaks about like the making of it and so on like that. So these are the 2 essays that I actually written. You can click one button and it will upload to your upload to your computer for free. I was selling them for $10 each, but you can cop them both do you can copy them from my YouTube video or my Facebook video, and you just click it once and it will just upload to your actual video. You know what I mean? Besides this, my fourth art history book, which is called Africa, the Architect of Western Civilization and Culture. This art history book speaks about how there's no such thing as the Western world. It does not exist. The entirety of the Western world is based on, the Moors, ancient Kemet, which people call Egypt today, and also West Africa. I also speaks about the usage and the usage and the meaning of these words and its history, like Moor, Avric, a Barber. I spoke about that. The word Middle East is actually North Africa. You know what I mean? So also explains how white people was afraid of soap and water and shit. It actually explains how the rival of the Moors, it kind of speaks about what white people was doing before our rival. That's what this book speaks about. It speaks about what white people was doing before our rival. I was actually fluctuating with myself about should I include all religion trace to ancient Kemet and other African mythical stories. I'm fluctuating with that because I'm not really fully sure. But this book is actually going to speak about how white people was like, no, I want to be clean. No, stop it. Keep that soap away from me, sir. I want to be dirty forever. They was fighting for their life and shit out here in these streets. I can't wait to be free. All black people the same. They trying to give you soap and water. How dare you, motherfucker! Revenge on the planet. We hate black people for life. We will never forget what you did to us. That's probably why they hate Muslims. You know what I'm saying? Fuck those Muslims. We hate you guys. Fuck you. Oh, the book also gonna speaks about I want to say it so bad, but this book here is gonna speaks about how I'm not even gonna say it. But this goes over there. And it's gonna explain what people was doing before our arrival and how we impact them of all the Western world, Europe, all that shit. How white people was killing and raping each other before our arrival. How we civilized them with soap and water and history and knowledge and shit. And how they took advantage of it afterwards. It's gonna be in the book. Y'all already know how I do it. That details. Y'all gonna think I was there out here. Y'all gonna think I was there. I have other books I have to read based on this too. But the first art history book, The Planet of the Blacks, is 21 pages. It was originally more than that, but I actually removed them for The Planet of the Blacks Part 2. Mexican Digits to America is 31 pages. It's actually been worked on literally right now. Like the picture's been drawn right now as I speak. And this here is probably going to be around like 70 pages. Probably more than that. Probably, I say 85, somewhere around there, probably tops. This one's probably going to be higher than that. It's probably going to be like 150 or something like that. And this right here is going to be, this one is Culture, Intimidation, the Legal Immigrants. This speaks about how the Western world, this is kind of part 2 of the previous book, Africa, the Architect, Western Civilization and Culture. This here, Culture, Intimidation, speaks about that how the Western world was intimidated by our civilization. We were so advanced, they believed extraterrestrials did this shit. They kept it in. Nah! Destroy it. They was every single black civilization that we actually architected or built, they destroyed it because they've been going all around the world lying to the world saying they are superior to us. How they are superior to us? Well, our civilization proves that we are superior to them. And also going to explain slave laws and slave systems that they gave themselves to oppress black people. Under there, so after they went all around the world, slaving the world, put black people at the bottom, put themselves up top, and then theft all the resources and how they benefited from slavery. Also, it speaks about white slavery. It's even going to speak about how white people benefit from resources, benefited from slavery. How white people don't want to give back what they stolen, because if they do, they be back at square one. Has nothing to do about no biblical shit. Historically, white people was originally poor. They had nothing of their own. So in order for them to get what they got, they stole from you. And then they gave you the Bible in slavery so you can believe what they're doing upon you is justified. Which means that they are not held accountable for their actions because God says it's okay. And that's something, it's actually a quote from a guy says that without religion, the poor would have been murdered the rich. Religion is actually a weapon that they actually use to slave people, literally in general. Native Americans, Africans, Mexicans. You can read White Man's Burden. What's the other one called? White Man's Burden, Manifest Destiny. You can read this. And all the information is actually originally in Mexicans Indigenous to America. A lot of it is there. The Mexican Indigenous to America explains a depth history of what I just said just now. But it was only applied to just Native Americans. This here is only going to be applied to just black people. It even going to show you that white people said out of their mouth that black people is superior than whites. I didn't say this. They said this. White people said black people is superior than whites. So we had to create slave laws and slave systems to be superior than them because of that's the only way for it to be fair. That's why you was not allowed in sports. Because their fear was they don't want you to beat them in it. It's right there that they said. Everything they do is based upon their fear and their survival. That's why they don't want to give back what they stolen. And that's why they've been lying to the world about black people. In order for them to stand, you had to be on the ground. That's the only way for them to stand. They had to stand when you on the ground. When you're standing, I say to people all the time, in order for them to be comfortable, you can't be yourself. When you know your history and who you are, it makes them feel inferior. It makes them feel mad about you. That's why they don't want you wearing cornrows and dreadlocks. That means you're proud of your heritage, you're proud of your hairstyle. Because in slavery, the first step they used to dehumanize you was shave the hair off your head. Because our African hair was very important to us. It's either going to speak about white slavery. It's either going to speak about the word slave originated from white people. It's either going to speak about the word kidnap or how they kidnapped children. Children was sleeping, minding his fucking business. His ass gets snatched and forced to slavery. It's either going to speak about Human Zoo, Woody Lynch. I can't find shit about that guy, yo. But his method is still being used to this day. To this day. To this day, his method's still been used to this day. But I can't find nothing about that guy, yo. I explained that in this book how Africans was doing the inside job for white people. I even explained that how scientific racism. These are some of the pictures I'm actually going to be using. I really can't wait to really release this one. I'm even going to speak about how they actually use stereotype, racial profiling, reverse psychology. Yo, this book is going to speak about how they had to remind the black woman. You remember how it is? They always show photos or videos of black women breastfeeding white children. White women then had the nutrients to breastfeed her own child to keep him or her strong. So they gave it to the black woman. Right, so they should give it to the black woman. When a black woman was breastfeeding his child, the white woman or the slave master had to remind the nanny or the black slave, look here, bitch, your ass inferior to me. Naturally, you're superior to me, but because of the slave law, I'm above you. So that's how come without the slave system giving its approval and backing them up, they ain't shit. They know what's going to happen without the slave system supporting them and aiding them. They ain't shit. That's how come you always see white people approaching black people in lynch mobs and groups because they cannot fight us in fair fights. Everything I'm telling you is in the book. In this book here, they could not beat us in fair fights. So in order for them to win, look at the slave system. Look at the slave laws they put black people through the court system, and look at what they put us through when they had every time they approach a black person, they gotta wear their authority. They gotta wear their little costume. Because without it, they get their ass whipped. You never hear a story about them approaching black people without their costume, without their police outfit. I even literally. Because they know without it, they get that ass whipped. So they said, I'm not going to poach them like that. I'm going to poach them with my uniform, and then I'm going to provoke them, and I'm going to start some shit, and this, that, and this. People got researched the history of police officers. This should not surprise y'all. It originally started of what we see today. All that's going to be explained in the book. I want to say the other shit. I want to say it so bad, yo. But it's going to be explained in the book. You people know how I do it. I'm gonna explain the details, J periods, motherfucker who signed the bill, all that shit. Globally, I definitely help with this one. But globally, how white people benefited from slavery, etc. How they literally, in order for them to become rich, they stole from you. Had nothing to do with no biblical shit. None of that. It had something to do with white people who originally was poor. In order for them to become rich, they stole from people who was rich, which was you. And the book also going to speak about they don't want you to be independent, because when you're independent, that's a problem. Because when we was independent, we was striving. We don't need them for shit. So that's why they don't want you to be independent. Look at Black Wall Street. People love bring up Black Wall Street. I said, homie, look at all the black civilizations. All of it. They infiltrated it. Did inside jobs and all crazy. Black people worked with them, all types of crazy shit. That's how they won. They said we don't need them independent, because when they're independent, they will govern and rule the world. We want to do what they do, but we're going to do it white. So they fuck up the whole planet, put themselves up top, put the people, the Aborigines, black people, put them at the bottom. It's not a coincidence black people is at the bottom globally. We was originally up top. When you read about African history, literally in general, or read about Aborigines, or tribes of that is indigenous, you can research this. They was the black people was the first inhabitants of each region in the world. So they slave you on your own land, steal all of your resources, create a slave system to slave you on. So you actually been slave on your own, in your own crib, yo. Picture you in your own house, minding your fucking business, drinking some lemonade and some shit. Some white dude come in your crib and like, yo, homie, I'ma slave you in this bitch. It's gonna be in the book. That's why I said all of my art history books, I doubt they're teaching in history. I doubt they're teaching in school. That's why I said I wanted to be homeschooled. We need to know our history. And it's actually other stuff I wanted to do. But, you know, I'm not, you know, it's me not thinking realistic, because I don't think these books going to sell anyway. It's me thinking realistic. When I told people what it was, people would say, oh, this make a global impact. And I told adults and children from different, all over the place. And all of them had the same reaction. It's not about, oh, we got to go to war and all that shit like that. But it was about, I go say what it is. I actually said it on Facebook recently. And people was losing their mind. They was going crazy. I'm like, whatever, people just overreact. You know, they just overreacted. I don't think, that's why I don't ask people for donations. I don't ask people, because I hate asking people for help. Because when people only look out for themselves. You know what I mean? You feel me? So that's why I hate asking people for help. But it's that, but also other reasons, you know. But also the Planet of the Blacks Part 2 is actually going to speak about how the early human, what we ate, what we wear, what we hunt, etc. I also want to reveal you that there's no such thing as prehistory. You know, a lot of shit that we gave credit to in ancient civilization or ancient period actually started in prehistory period. When the first man and woman was roaming the planet, we did have a writing system. They just they don't know how to translate it or understand it. It's gonna be in the book. It's ridiculous. It was crazy. Yo, there's a lot of information in that I said, what the fuck to? I said, what the fuck? You know? Besides that, the meaning of hair in African culture, how one of the first steps they did to dehumanize Africans was shave the hair off their head, because hair was very important to us. So while we showing off our hair and wearing dreadlocks and cornrows, that makes them feel angry, because they tried everything they could to remove you from your heritage, remove you from who you are. That's why they trying to ban it when you in school. And when they talk about, when you see them on the news and shit, they talking about, oh, that was a law we put in place years ago. When you look at the time period, that was slavery period. It was a law for you to read and write. They was reading your books, getting themselves a head start. They was reading the books about the Moors, ancient Kemet. They was reading our knowledge to give themselves a head start. It's going to be in this book, Culture Intimidation, the Illegal Immigrants. This book is probably going to be around like maybe 150 pages, close to 200 pictures drawn for this one. This one probably like 70 to 80, close to 100 with these two. And this one I said is 31, and the other one is 21. It's been drawn right now, and it's already been typed. So this one already done. Mexican, Digital American are already done. This one is 22 to 15% done. I'm still working on this one. I haven't typed anything for it yet, and and this one right here, you know what I mean? But the Planet of the Blacks Part 2, this one speaks about how I'm gonna show you some of the pictures. I'm gonna show you a lot of the African inventions and creation that we did that they took credit for. It's even gonna explain I want to say it's so bad information in this book. I was thinking about putting how all religions trace to Africa, all of them. Ancient Kemet, which means we are fighting over nothing. We're literally fighting over nothing. I actually made a video called My Views and Research on Religion. Just check that video out. We are fighting over nothing. All of the religions saying the same story. Some has been edited, etc. But all of them, overall, it's the same shit. Planet of the Blacks Part 2 is probably going to be 300 pictures. I'm not joking. It's going to be a lot of information in this book. You know, it's a lot of information. Like, y'all think this book here was a what the fuck what I said? Or any of these? This here is a what the fuck. You know? I also going to explain the early human, the meaning of hair in African culture, ancient black civilizations that's not in Africa. I'm gonna show you how it started. I'm gonna show you like how it started, the name of the tribe, etc., how they got to the region, all that shit. This book here is gonna explain dramatically much more, and it's actually in this notebook right here. That's why I said it's so much information in here. This is my notebook, references, sources, and notes. There's actually chapters that's actually been used for one book that can be used for another book. You know what I mean? And I'm actually going to show you how all that biblical shit about we broke God's commandments. It's going to show you how that's traced to ancient Kemet, 42 disciplines of Ma'at. And this book here shows you about the bank on page 19.